In this wonderful sorrow, at the instant of her coming into existence, she began to seek a remedy for mankind and commenced the work of mediation, intercession, and reparation. She offered to God the clamors of her ancestors and of the just of the earth, that his mercy might not delay the salvation of mortals, whom she even then looked upon as her brethren. Before she ever conversed with them, she loved them with the most ardent charity, and with the very beginning of her existence, she assumed the office of benefactress of men and exercised the divine and fraternal love enkindled in her heart. These petitions the Most High accepted with greater pleasure than the prayers of all the saints and angels, and this pleasure of God was also made known to her, who was created to be the Mother of God. She perceived the love of God and his desire to descend from heaven in order to redeem men, though she knew not how it should be consummated. It was befitting that God should feel himself impelled to hasten his coming on account of the prayers and petitions of this creature, since it was principally for the love of her that he came, and since in her body he was to assume human flesh, accomplish the most admirable of all his works, and fulfill the end of all other creatures. She also prayed at the moment of her conception for her natural parents, Joachim and Anne, whom she knew in God before she had seen them in the body. Immediately she exercised the virtues of love, reverence, and gratitude of a daughter, acknowledging them as the secondary causes of her natural being. She made many other petitions in general and for particular objects. By aid of the infused science given to her, she began to compose songs of gratitude in her mind and heart for having, at the portal of life, found the precious drachm, which we all have lost in our first beginning. She found the grace which issued forth to meet her. She found the divinity which met her at the threshold of her existence. Her faculties of body and soul found, at the instant of her creation, the most noble object, which attracted and entranced them, for they were created solely for it, and as they were to be hers entirely, it was proper also that the first fruits of their activity, which were the knowledge and love of God, should be devoted to that object. In this queen there was no existence without knowledge of God, no knowledge without love, and no love without its merit. Nor was there in her anything small or measured merely by the common laws or by the general rules. Great was she altogether, and great did she come forth from the hands of the Most High, in order to proceed and arrive at such an excellence of being that God alone would be greater. Oh, how beautiful were those steps of thine, daughter of the King, since with thy first one thou didst reach the Godhead. Twice beautiful wert thou for thy grace and beauty. Heavenly are thine eyes, and thy thoughts are like the kingly carmine, since thou hast enraptured his heart and hast made him prisoner by a thread of thy hair, and drawn him captured by the love of thy virginal womb and heart. There in truth the spouse of the King did sleep, while her heart was awake. There those bodily faculties, which scarcely had yet attained their natural form, and had not yet seen the material light, were asleep, and that heavenly heart, more marvelous on account of the greatness of its gifts than by the smallness of its size, was watching in the chamber of her mother's womb with the light of the divinity, which bathed it and enkindled it in the fire of its immense love. It was not befitting that in this heavenly creature the inferior faculties of the soul should act before the superior ones, nor that they should operate in an inferior or merely in a manner equal to those of any other creature. For if the operations correspond to the essence of each creature, she, who always was superior to all of them in dignity and excellence, was also to be superior in her operations to all creatures, angelic and human. Not only was she to be nothing short of the angelic spirits, in so far as they immediately made use of their faculties at the instant of their creation, but this prerogative was due to her in superior excellence, as she was created as their queen and lady. And this by so much more as the name and office of Mother of God excels that of servants, and that of queen the estate of vassals. For to none of the angels had the word said, "Thou shalt be my mother." Nor could any one of them say to him, "Thou art my son." Mary alone could claim this commerce and relationship, which is therefore the real measure and foundation of the greatness of Mary, in the same way as the apostle measured the greatness of Christ by his being the Son of the Eternal Father. In writing of these sacraments of the King, howsoever honorable it is to reveal his works, I confess my inaptitude and incapacity, being only a woman, and I am afflicted, because I am speaking in such common and vague terms, which fall entirely short of that which I perceive in the light given to my soul for the understanding of these mysteries. In order to do justice to such sublimity, there were need of other words, more particular and especially adapted terms and expressions, which are beyond my ignorance. And even if they were at my service, they would be weighed down and made insipid by human weakness. Let therefore this human imbecility acknowledge itself unequal and incapable of fixing its eyes on this heavenly sun, with which the rays of the divinity break upon the world, although yet beclouded in the maternal womb of holy Anne. If we seek permission to approach this wonderful sight, let us come near free and unshackled. Let us not allow ourselves to be detained, neither by our natural cowardice nor by a base fear and hesitation, even though it be under the cloak of humility. Let us all approach with the greatest devotion and piety, free from the spirit of contention. Then we will be permitted to examine with our own eyes the fire of the divinity burning in the bush without consuming it.